Oh, my bad. There we go. All right. Make sure the sound is going. If y'all can't hear me, please let me know so we can fix this early and not have any issues like we've been having the past couple of weeks. Um, this is, as we know, it is our veteran Q&A. Basically, if you have any questions pertaining to anything to do with benefits, entitlements, stuff for your spouse, any questions relating to veteran affairs, and even some questions even to do with active duty military, depending on it is because in order to receive veteran disabilities, you have to become a service member or you have to be a service member. So those are things that people have to keep in mind. So the first step is realizing that when it comes to veteran affairs, it starts as an active duty service member. So you have to be an active duty service member to start receiving benefits, to start going through the process. There's a bunch of benefits that you can receive while being in service. One of the main ones being tuition assistance. And for those, I'm streaming, I'm multi-streaming on different platforms. I am on TikTok. I'm also on Facebook today. The best viewing capability will be on YouTube. I have my link up there on each platform. I have it so you can access the YouTube. If you can help support the channel and help so we can continue to keep giving information to veterans, I'd appreciate that. But this is the main thing that we do every Sunday at 12 noon. I know people are going to be preparing for their football games, preparing their tailgating, or doing all that stuff. But I just want to make sure that, hey, if you're in need of assistance when it comes to veteran affairs, benefits, entitlements, and stuff like that, make sure that you are at least tuning in for this an hour before the game starts, because a lot of information can be obtained through these lives that'll help benefit you and it'll help benefit your life going forward, and also your family, your kids, your wife, stuff like that, because there's a lot of information and there's a lot of benefits that you can obtain by doing this. You learn to obtain information from where the regulation states it, so that way you have a better understanding of what's going on. So it's not a I'm just giving information just to give information. No, while we do this, that's why I tell people to go to the YouTube link on my bio just to check it out, so that way you can get a visual, because I show you exactly where it is I'm finding this information. So when it comes to how you get your ratings, or what rating scale does your disability fall under, or what can you claim and what can't you claim, how do you claim it, and what percentage you can get off of that specific rating. Those are the things I try to make sure to show people directly from the regulations, or directly from the .mil or .gov documents, that allow people to understand, like, hey, this is the information that is visible, this is the information that is valid, this is the information that you can use to obtain and help yourself and your family. Most people do not know about the Code of Federal Regulations, which is one of the biggest, which is the biggest document when it comes to the schedule of ratings for people to take advantage of. Not to say that people don't aren't fraudulent towards the system, which is an unfortunate part, because it takes away resources from other veterans, which that I do understand. But then there's also the part where people need to understand that when it comes to knowing what the rating schedule is and knowing what the percentages are, it assists you with either fighting to get to 100% permanent in total, or just getting the rating that you believe you deserve for that disability that you have. For example, there's not all disability ratings do not reach 100%. So you cannot get 100% off of each disability rating. For some disability ratings, it could be like for musculoskeletal, most of them, if it's joint pain or something like that, shoulder, ankle, hip, knee, whatever, elbow, fingers, whatever the case may be, most of them only go up to the percentage of about 30 to 40% at that. Some of them you can't go any higher than that. Like, let's say for your hands, each finger can be counted as a 10% disability rating if you have arthritis in your hands, which happens if you're a mechanic, you deal with a lot of stuff working on your hands, or you just develop arthritis while in service by doing that. Even, I believe, I have to double check, but I think carpal tunnel syndrome is something that you can claim also. But you got to remember that with some of these disability claims, all of them are not static. And what I mean by static is that the VA understands that your disability rating is not going to improve. So basically, if you have an injury, if you have a back injury, like let's say you have degenerative disc disease, your cartilage is not going to grow back. So the VA understands that, and they place it as a static um, disability claim. If it's non-static, that means that the VA believes, hey, there is still a possibility of you being able to get better. Now, if you're able to get better, that's when it becomes a bit more difficult, because then you can lose ratings that way, or you can get reduction in ratings. But you have to remember that in order for you to lose a rating through the disability system or through the VA, there has to be documentation showing that you've lost it. You have to go through the process of doing another compensation and pension exam to show, hey, you have lost this, or your disability has improved, but it's multiple times. So you have to go through 2 CMP examinations in order to see that. Otherwise, you're not going to just get reduced. Because a lot of people, with a lot of veterans, the whole thing you hear is when they get to 100% permanent in total, they like to say, oh, I don't want to poke the bear. Meaning, yeah, I don't want to poke the bear and see, hey, I don't want to file for this because then I may lose a percentage that I had on something else. Now, what people need to understand is about the poking the bear thing is just like, when it comes to having disabilities on record for you as a service member, as a veteran, this is a benefit for your dependents, for your spouse, in case something happens to you because of what you may be dealing with or what the claim is. That is what people don't understand. So let's say, got my back. See, so somebody said, any advice on how to get my neck service connected? They got my back and knees, but tell me my neck isn't. So Ken Dunn. So the answer I have for you is when it comes to having anything service connected, you want to make sure that you have a diagnosis for it. So let's say you have your back, you have your knees, you've had a neck injury. You have to get documentation showing that. You want to get a diagnosis for that. So the same way you were diagnosed and they service connected your back and your knee, you have to have documentation, whether that's a x-ray, MRI, whatever the case may be, or you go ahead and get a nexus letter, which a nexus letter is a document basically from an outside provider stating, hey, due to my expertise, I am a specialist in, I don't even know what you would consider the specialist in, but basically make sure that the specialist is in the realm of dealing with your back or with your skeletal system. You're going to go and you're going to get a diagnosis from that doctor. That doctor will then provide his documentation, his credentials and all that stuff, and he will write a letter stating that, hey, off of my knowledge and my expertise in this field, and he'll state the field, I have observed and taken care of, or this person has been under my care for a set amount of time. The issues that he has here are pertaining to his time in service when he had whatever event or whatever incident. So basically, hey, you jumped out of a Humvee, or you jumped out of a LMTV, you landed wrong, you did combatives and somebody slammed you. Whatever the case may be, you have to have that there as that event, and the doctor has to contribute it and saying that, hey, he didn't have any issues prior to this, or he developed this issue after this event and it has been ongoing, and you have the documentation now to show it. But remember, just because you have that letter from that doctor doesn't solidify that, yes, that's what happened. You have to make sure that you have the documentation for it. And hey, if you got a buddy statement, or you have buddies, which is a buddy statement, you can put that in there, and that buddy statement will allow you to have a corroborating story. So if you served with anybody that was there when your neck got messed up, you want them to write a buddy letter, basically stating, hey, yeah, basically a paper trail. You have to have a paper trail of all that stuff. And the thing is it gets more difficult for veterans once they are out of service. Once a veteran has gotten out of service, that's when it becomes more difficult, because now it's basically you have to prove to the VA, like, hey, this happened, but, you know, It didn't happen when? Like, when did it happen? Did it happen while in service? Did it happen, hey, you went on a skiing trip and you just happened like fall or something like that? So you have to make sure that it's getting it connected and finding a way to connect it to your time in service. Most of the time, people don't. I'll say this. Most of the time, a lot of people overlook their medical records. So a lot of people, when they go through and they get their medical records, because you're supposed to get a copy of it when you're exiting the military, some people disregard those documents. Some people don't care about those documents. Some people don't keep them. That's information that you need to keep, because down the road, if something gets worse or something happens, using a company that helps vets increase rating, and they fell for a bunch of random stuff. That's the thing is look, I'm not a big fan of using a outside entity, because the thing is all this information is free. Now, all this information is there. If you don't know what it is, it's called the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, Chapter 1, Part 4. Now, if you just go onto Google, you can go on your phone and just type 38 CFR Part 4 and it'll show up. It'll bring you to the schedule of ratings, which, like I said, if y'all join me on, if you do it on YouTube, it's easier for me to show you what I'm talking about on YouTube. Because that's where I usually have it. But this is the Code of Federal Regulations. So with the Code of Federal Regulations, it basically has that information and it will give you a breakdown of everything you can claim. There are over 3,000 different claims that you can make as a veteran for disability claims. Now, are all of them going to fit you? No, all of them are not going to fit you. But there's a lot in there that people deal with on a daily basis as a service member or as a member of after the fact, that people don't understand that they are dealing with. Like, some people have like irritable bowel syndrome. Some people have GERD, reflux. Some people deal with migraines. Some people deal with there's all different stuff, but it breaks it down for you and it shows you like, hey, this is what you have. Like, it breaks it down, the table of contents, it'll show you, and it'll have it for the musculoskeletal system. It'll break down all of that. It has the organs of special sense. So even if you have ED, like erectile dysfunction, or you have sexual arousal issues, that's something that you can claim. Auditory impairment, so when you get tinnitus, which is an automatic like 10%, but then basically hearing loss is another 10%. If you do have hearing loss, having that allows you to get a hearing aid, which a lot of people don't know you could do that. It goes into infectious diseases, immune disorders, nutritional deficiencies, the respiratory system. If you have trouble breathing and stuff like that, which sometimes that falls under sleep apnea, which is obstructive sleep apnea, which is either mild, moderate, or severe, or they have different classifications. But it's like 3 different classifications. If you have it and you get a sleep study done and you get a CPAP machine, that's an automatic 50%. The cardiovascular system, when it comes to basically if you got high blood pressure, which veteran don't, which veteran doesn't have high blood pressure, but the justification that they have is that, hey, you need to have it at a certain level or stuff like that. The one thing that people don't realize is, like, one thing I realized while in service, and I realized this after I got out, was the fact that whenever I went to the clinic or whatever the case, and they take your blood pressure, my blood pressure was always higher than what they actually did it. So they had to try it the second time. So once they tried it the second time, they was like, oh, this looks better. And then they wrote that down. But then the thing is at the same time, I was still put on blood pressure medication. So that was in my record and that was in my file. Another thing that people don't understand is also, as a veteran, you are on medication. Your medication can cause a bunch of symptoms. Look at the damn the little medicine bottle and see what the hell does it say. Does it say, oh, you have you may cause drowsiness, can't efficiently do that? You can claim those things, because the thing is your medication is not enabling you to work, basically. So you can file for the TDIU sometimes, which is basically the temporary it's a total disability because of unemployability thing. See, I got hypertension at 10%. And it's there. Those are stuff that you get in there that people need to realize, that you got that information and it goes off of it. So all these documents and all that stuff that's here is stuff that can be used, and it's helpful. The secondary claims is one of the biggest things that a lot of people take. Every day I got to take blood pressure pills every day. I know. I trust me. I know. I'm there with you, Butler. And, and those are things that people don't understand. But the thing is sometimes you take other medication. So if you have back issues like I do, I take muscle relaxers. When I take muscle relaxers, I'm not supposed to be driving. So that's a hindrance towards me because of my issue. So it's just like those things take into effect. And those are certain things that don't get better and don't change. So those are things that people need to realize when it comes to it. It's a lot of information there that's available to you. So the same thing with, like I said, the cardiovascular system, there's the digestive system, there's the like the gynecological conditions and disorders of the breast for women. There's lymphatic systems, anything to do with your lymph nodes or something like that might be throwing it off. Skin, if you have scars, if you've gotten a scar through the military, you can file a claim for that. For me, I got scars on my chin. You can't see them now because I'm able to grow my beard back. But I did laser therapy to try to cut down on the ingrown hairs while in service. I got a rating for that because I had ingrown hairs. So also, if you had a shaving profile, it's subsibio barsalitis. I can't say the. If you had a shaving profile while in the system, you can claim that. Because basically it irritated your skin, and that's a claim you can file for. And a lot of people don't even know that. It's just like, hey, they might have had a shaving profile or they deal with shaving that whole time. You can make that a claim because of the fact that it was just like it was causing that. See, look, you got blood pressure pills and cholesterol pills every single day. And that's the thing. The other thing that people don't understand is like, as a veteran, a lot of the times there's no other, how can I put it? There's not many other incentives to not be on medication. And that's a problem that people need to understand. That a lot of the times people are just throwing medication and it's not anything. Is there a claim for being overweight while in service? Was it a thyroid issue? Was it a medical issue that caused that? Because that's the same thing that sometimes is just like, hey, the same thing happens as a veteran. If you're gaining weight or something like that, it could be because of your injury. So let's say you have a knee injury, you have a back injury, you can't take those long walks, you can't run no more, you can't exercise like you used to, and you're gaining weight. That is also part of the claim because it inhibits you from being who you regularly are, basically. Because people need to realize when it comes to the Code of Federal Regulations, this is what a VA rater looks at. They look at the Code of Federal Regulations. It sucks to say it this way, but they don't care about your pain. They don't care about the pain. Because the thing is there's no way of measuring pain. You cannot measure pain at any doctor's office. There's no medical or scientific way of measuring pain. So the Code of Federal Regulations breaks this down as to how you get your percentage. So let's say you have back issues. The back issues get noted because it's the gene. The guy, damn. Last week, the guy that was on here told me what it was called. It's a little like, it looks like a protractor thing that they have. They're supposed to use that to measure your bendability. So basically, if you have back issues and you can't bend all the way, that's a certain percentage. If you get G range, there we go. I forget the name of the actual thing. I might have to post that up somewhere because I keep on forgetting what it is. But that's how they measure your movement. Same thing with the shoulders and all that stuff. Lift up my back, and I'm not getting those surgeries. No, hell no. I've heard bad stories about surgeries when it comes to anything with your back, your discs, anything like that. Some people have gotten them fused. Some people have plate discs inserted, like the little metal plates inserted. Some people say, hey, my back is great. And then some people say my back has gotten worse off of these surgeries. So it's just like, that's a give or take. It's like, if you could deal with it, you got to remember, you can go to a chiropractor. You can get chiropractic stuff ongoing. You can go get seen. You can get I think there's like full body massages you can get, but it has to be like referred through your primary care on the thing. And I believe they do it twice a year that you're able to get like a full body massage thing on the VA because of your issues. But you have to have it referred through your primary in the VA in order to get a referral, and then they either try to send you to a person that does it within the VA facility, or they try to outsource it and contract it somewhere else. Well, that's it. Roberto Gonzalez asked, "Buenos dias, Cruz." Question. Hold on. Let me highlight this real quick. Did it pop up? Okay, so the question is by Roberto Gonzalez's question, can I put my parents as dependents on my service connection claim? So the process is a bit different when it comes to that. You can put your parents as dependents. The thing is you have to go through a process where you have to show information for that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me 1 second. Because you have to add them as a dependent. No, so a parent does not have to be service connected. The parent is basically, are you taking care of them? Are you providing the most care for them? Because you got to remember, in service you could also do that. So if you were providing care, or your parent was staying with you, or you're providing most care, or you're providing financial responsibility and stuff like that, you can put them under the claim. Now, medical wise, that I have to look into. That I'm not too sure. But you can claim them as a parent if you're providing for them, if you're taking care of them and stuff like that. That's what it is. Let me see. So to be considered a dependent, one of these must be true. Oh no, that's for a child. So it has to be a parent if you're directly caring for them and their income and net worth are below a certain amount. So basically, they have to fall under certain criteria. So let's say they can't take care of themselves, like you're financially providing for them because they can't receive, or they're not receiving enough to pay, so they move in with you and they live with you, then you can make a claim for them. You have to provide that documentation. So it may be no, if your wife is there, she's a dependent. You have to file that with the VA. So there's a dependence list. So you would have to call them and let them know, like, hey, I would like to add my wife and my kids. You have to show, when it comes to that, is it simple, I believe, to add your wife as a dependent onto your VA claim or onto your VA disability. It is as easy as calling the VA, letting them know, and then submitting your a copy of your marriage certificate. When it comes to your parents, it's gonna have to show documentation like, hey, I've been providing this amount for this amount of time to my parents. So I've been sending my mom $500, $600 a month for the past 3 years, or for the past 2 years and whatever. But it has a certain criteria to do it. So it has to be on level, and it has to be you taking care of it. But the VA can be very specific when it comes to putting that. So the social security card, I don't think is necessary. It has to be basically a birth certificate and proof of marriage. Proof of marriage is definitely for uh the spouse, the wife, or husband, and then for the kids is the birth certificate, and you have to have your name has to be on that birth certificate to show that it is your kid. It is also in the case of adopted kids, you can also put them on there, but that I believe is different documentation also. So there's different things you can do. There's different criteria when it comes to that to actually be able to add people on there. Yeah, if you go like, that's why I say that there's companies that assist you with that, but that's something that you can go to a VSO for. If you go into your VA facility, the closest one, there's usually some sort of entity that serves as a veteran service officer. Basically, it'll either be the American Legion or the Veteran of Foreign Wars. There's the Disabled American Veterans. There's the Wounded Warrior Project. There's the Gary Sinise Foundation. There's all these people, and then also you can go on va.gov, which I'll show y'all right here. You can go on va.gov and you can go to find a VSO, and you can just go to the excuse me, to the va.gov site, just type in on the search bar, type in VSO, and you can click on the first link and it'll say find a VA accredited representative or VSO. You click on that, you can basically search via your address, city, state, post, your zip code. It'll search for 50 miles out. You can change the range. The range can be from 5 miles to 200 miles out, and you can use that and basically be able to do that. And then from there, you can search for a VSO, which is not going to charge you. They're not going to charge you for assisting you. There are companies that do charge you. Some of them have some very good claims. Some of them all make it that it's a one-time payment that you just pay, and some of them don't charge you unless they actually up your percentage. But the thing is you have to look into what it is you're signing into when you agree with one of these companies, because there have been a lot of companies that are taking advantage of veterans when it comes to that. There's a lot of these companies that are having veterans pay part of their disability to them on a continuous basis. So basically, it's like signing into the contract that is like, hey, you're going to be paying a 10% of whatever gain you got. You're going to pay 10% for life for some. Yeah, Robert Gonzalez, no problem, man. If you have any questions, it was just like, or they have any questions, just send them my way. I'm a veteran that went through this situation where I wasn't advised, I wasn't notified, I wasn't told of all the entitlements, all the benefits that you have, like all the benefits and entitlements for spouses and dependents. This is something that the military doesn't do a good job of when it comes to a person exiting the military. So the thing is I just decided that since I went through this issue, I'd rather be able to help assist veterans and not go through that same issue so that they can actually be better off than I was when it was me just trying to go through the situation and figure it out. I didn't know about the Code of Federal Regulations. I didn't know about the VRE, the Veteran Readiness and Employment Programs. I didn't really know too much about my GI Bill or the Montgomery GI Bill. I didn't know about all these other resources that are available to you that you can use to actually benefit you and help you out in the long run and in your future. A lot of people don't know how to use their VA loan, which is basically a zero down payment on purchasing a home. But then within the VA home thing, there's the electric efficiency mortgage, which is a clause that is in the VA loan that would allow you to almost put up to like $6,000 in home. I guess I wouldn't say repair, but kind of like home fixing, I guess you could put it, that allows to be put on top of your mortgage and you don't have to pay out of pocket. So like in my instance, I decided to put brand new windows on my home and that was just put on top of my mortgage. I didn't have to pay out of pocket for it. But I had to go, you have to go through certain things. With that one, it's different, but you have to go through certain things in order to get the loan approved through there. So you have to go through the instance of showing and having an electrician come out and do a analysis of your home, saying like, hey, if you're gonna get brand new windows, how much is it gonna cost? It's gonna cost this much, because you have to provide the quoting per dollar what it's going to be, but then also it's how much money are you going to save. So that electrician is going to be like, well, if he puts brand new windows in and all this stuff comes in, it's like, okay, he's going to save over the life of this mortgage, he would save this amount in electrical costs because his windows are now better. Same way with doing insulation in the home, you can do that. It's a cutoff of basically, if it's from $1,000 and below, you don't have to provide any documentation. From 3,000 and down, you have to do like a per like item deduction. Basically from 3,000 to 6,000 or 6,000 and above, you have to basically provide a electrician analysis, basically showing like, hey, if you're going to install solar panels or stuff like that, or change out your windows. It doesn't work for like appliances and stuff like that. Certain, like with everything with the VA, there's certain criteria that you fall into that you can take advantage of, and there's certain criteria that you can't do. But that's why it's like stuff like that is just like educating people on, because it's like, hey, if you buy a home that may be an older home and your heat bill or your cooling bill, your AC bill, your energy bill is out the roof because of the fact that your windows are not insulating the heat in, or not keeping the heat in, or not keeping the cool in. That's something that you can put about that. My vet health. What exactly? What? Laugh loud. Which? What? What about my vet health? Because the thing is with that, it's like that's a whole different. It's like a whole different service with the by vet health, but it's still there for you to take advantage of, because it is for your health and stuff to do. But depending on what it is you're asking, because the thing is I'm still like, I know a good amount of stuff. I'm still learning on the way. So when somebody asks me a question, and that's why I tell people to ask questions, because the thing is like on YouTube, like I'm showing people now, I have my page up and open there for people to see it, so people can see what I'm talking about, and then it's just like it's easier for them to view it, and then it's all there for them to see that. So that way it's just like I can pull up the information at the same time, so that way it's just like, hey, if you have a question, we'll look for it. Yes, you can do that through the vet, through the my vet health. My vet health also allows you to speak directly to your primary in the VA. So if you have any questions or anything, or you need to get a referral or something like that, most of the time you can directly contact them, and it works 10 times as fast than doing it. Another thing is when you call the VA, press 0 and talk to the operator, and the operator will send you to it. You might still have a long wait time, but you ain't gonna have to go through like those 10 minutes of just introductory, just like, oh, did you know the VA can do this? The VA can do that. The VA was to press this and press that. Like, bro, just get me to who I need to talk to. That's the main thing. But you can, the my vet health is something that, like I said, that's one of those instances where a lot of people don't know that exists. Filing claims, talking to your provider, refilling medications, obtaining your medical records that you've obtained through the VA. That's the stuff that a lot of people don't know. And the thing is you got to remember, when you get those documentations, also when it comes through the VA, that documentation can also help you provide a claim, a disability claim going forward. So people need to realize it's just like, it's that paper trail. Your paper trail doesn't have to necessarily, it's best when your paper trail is from your time in service, because then they can contribute it like, hey, this happened while he was serving, it's gotten worse, or we can service connect it and take care of it. If you're getting seen outside of it, you would still have that documentation, but at the same time, you need that there. You need that info basically connecting it. So it's basically a nexus letter. The thing is, it's just like we have the like, one of the other reasons I do this a lot is there's a lot of issues with us as veterans. The veteran community can be toxic as shit. And that's a problem where it is, where that's why I hold these is like, hey, if you got questions and you want information, just ask, and I'm gonna help you get to it, and I'm gonna help you find it, and I'm gonna help you show it. The thing is the veteran community can be so toxic because a lot of people want to say, hey, the statements I'm making, I'm better than yours. My service is better than yours. This, and that. At the end of the day, we're all part of the same damn team because we joined the same damn team. But the thing is a lot of the times, a lot of veterans try to downplay stuff. Like on my YouTube channel, it has happened tons of times. When I first started my YouTube channel, it was basically me. I made a video basically highlighting what the military pay may be. So like, you know how they say the proposed amount of what the increase may be. So last year we got a 3.2% increase. I made a video saying propose that this might be possible what we get as 3.1. I had so many veterans coming at my neck basically saying, oh, you lying to veterans, you telling them this, and that. Mind you, I was only off by point 0.1, and I was actually lower than what the amount was that we actually got. And these people were just like, oh, you're misleading veterans and stuff like that. But the thing is most people don't understand that it's by the CPI that it gets managed and it gets observed. And that's how it gets calculated for us to get our increase. So you have veterans that were attacking me, basically saying that I'm lying and I'm doing this, and that. And they themselves didn't know how they got the money or where it was that we got our increase from. The other thing was I just had another one where I made a video on like a short on homeless assistance. I had somebody attacking the video, like saying that, hey, you need to stop spreading false information. And then I had to, and I tried to be polite as possible, but I had to basically state, like, hey, look, just because you as a veteran had a bad experience does not mean that you have to spread lies about your issue with the military or the veterans or the VA and make it that it's a generalized aspect. It doesn't mean that everybody went through the same thing. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to go through the same thing. He was making it seem, so then I called him out on it and I corrected him. It was just like, look, just because you went through your experience, that happens. I asked, like, hey, when did you go through your experience? Because this HUD-VASH, which is basically like the home development and urban development thing, where they now are providing vouchers for veterans to use in order to obtain homes, basically, or a way of finding a place to live, was only created like in 2016. So then I called them out on it. So I was just like, it's unfortunate that you had to go through that, but don't say that it's not going to work for other veterans just because you didn't have a good experience. Mind you, come to find out that that same veteran went through the homeless issue before this program ever existed. So basically you're telling people that the VA is not helping you because they didn't have a program which they instituted after the fact, but you want to tell veterans and lie to them and be like, hey, this shit doesn't work, don't do it. And that's the problem we have with the veteran community, that it's always like they try to make it like a competition, and it doesn't have to be a competition when it comes to being a service member. You served. Okay, the whole thing is how can we help veterans out? It's not my service is better than yours, or why does this person have a disability rating higher than mine and he did less than me and stuff like that. It was just like, it's funny because I hate talking shit to veterans, but at the same time, you have to talk shit to these veterans because of the thing is that they don't understand what the hell is going on. The thing is that's part of the problem we have with the veteran community is that we have all this information out there, but veterans withhold it and downgrade it and just plain out lie because of their bad issues. Say, thank you, Linda. I appreciate you. But that's something that people don't understand. It's just like, look, just because you went to Iraq 4 times and this and that, and you don't have 100% disability, doesn't mean that because you went through that, doesn't mean that a person that didn't go through 4 tours doesn't deserve to get 100% PNT. Because then when you start looking at it and you start asking these veterans these combat vets that are always like, oh, I deployed, I did this and that, and I don't got no rating, I'm only at 20%. Then you start asking them, it's like, hey, did you document anything? Did you go to sick call? Did you go to the doctor? Did you get anything notated when you actually got hurt? No. So then why is it that you're mad at the fact that somebody else made sure to take care of themselves and put themselves first before you did? I was just like, yeah, you joined to serve the country. So does everybody else that joined the military. But the thing is, at the end of the day, people don't take into account what's going on. People don't look into that information. It was just like, if you did what you're supposed to do and made sure you got your stuff documented, you got your stuff documented, you have that, you would be able to file disability claims and you'd be able to get to that 100%. But the problem was what? You drank the Kool-Aid too strong. You just drank the Kool-Aid too strong. You went too hua. That's it. Like what is it that Ben Stiller says in Tropic Thunder? He's like, you never go full R. You just don't. The same thing with the military. You never go full hua. Because the thing is you end up forgetting what it is that you're gonna do. Because at the end of the day, nobody in the military, none of those commanders and none of that leadership is basically going to take care of you. That's how I learned it from Sergeant First Class when I was just a PFC. He told me, it was like, look, he was walking to the cane and this dude was just like, he said, what do you mean you people? It was like, it was like when he was walking with a cane and he told me, it was like, look, you look like a high speed young buck. You look like you're gonna do a lot. He was like, look, man, don't be prideful. If you get hurt, go get seen. Get it documented. He told me from a youngin' in the military, like, look, go get your shit documented because at the end of the day, you don't want to end up coming towards retirement and you have all these injuries and stuff like that. But the thing is you never got seen for them and then you got to fight the VA to prove it. That was a wake up call for me. And no, soldiers do not get this information up front. Most soldiers don't know about becoming a veteran till they're about to become a veteran. You don't get no classes, and then the classes that you get are shit. Like I said, I exited the military from Germany. My class on VA disability was literally, hey, yeah, so you'll go here to the va.gov site, which I'll show y'all. I'll show y'all what they highlighted for me. They basically was like, oh, you'll go to the va.gov site. You'll go here. You'll make sure to go to the thing and you'll sign in. And there's a thing that they'll help you like maybe make your sign in. So it's either you can do the login.gov, you could do ID Me, which if you don't know as a veteran, check out ID Me. There is a ton of discounts, all over, all certain companies. You can be a nurse, first responder, teacher, student, military, government official, or government entity, and there are discounts there for you. Or you could use the DS logon, or you use the My Health Vet to log in. You go through there, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is where you'll go. You'll click on this. You'll answer these questions, and then you'll just file your disability." That was the class I got. That was all I got. That was literally all I was taught. They didn't tell you about the Code of Federal Regulations where you can go and tell you what the documents are or what ratings you can get or what you can actually claim. They didn't tell you all that. They just tell you, oh, we'll help you process the shit and we'll help you submit it. But they don't tell you there was no VSO. There was no VSO entity in Europe. Right now, I have a friend that is a raider, and he is saying that they are trying to develop an office that provides like VSO integration and VSO stuff for Italy and for Germany, because a lot of people exit from the military overseas. Now, if you don't have an overseas VSO, you mean to tell me that all these service members and all these veterans that are leaving the military from these outside countries are not getting the same service that they're possibly getting in the States? Now, I don't know how well it works in the States, but at the same time, you got to look at it like this. If all of us veterans and all these veterans are having such a hard time trying to get information and trying to actually file the disability claims, something's not adding up. Because it's mandated by Congress that you have to go through these classes. But no one is actually paying attention, I guess, to the actual classes or to what's happening within the classes or learning what's happening within these classes. Because like I said, for me, I was just like, oh, there's a resume builder. Half-ass classes. I was just like, you don't prepare veterans very well when it comes to entitlements, benefits. I was just like, it would have been nice to know that there was the Veteran Readiness and Employment program where I could be using that instead of my GI Bill, which a lot of people don't know that. If it's for employment purposes, it is called Chapter 30. No, it's not Chapter 31. That's the GI Bill. Chapter 35 is the Dependents, Education, and Assistance thing. VRE. So let me just do that. VRE. It used to be called the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment. Now it is Veteran Readiness and Employment. So I'll show this here. So that's this right here. So a lot of people don't know that the VRE program is basically kind of like another GI Bill that veterans are able to use when it comes to employment purposes. So basically you have to file with them, you talk to somebody for it, and you explain why it is that you need this training for employment purposes. So let's say you want to become a electrician. They will pay for you to become an electrician. They will send you to the school and you will get the same housing allowance like if you were using a GI Bill. This has nothing to do with the GI Bill. This is a completely different entity within the VA that you can use. For some people, it has gotten that they've used their GI Bill, and as long as you have a day left, If the VRE program sees that you were able to use them instead of the GI Bill, they actually recoup your whole GI Bill. Certain instances. Doesn't always happen that way. It's only in certain instances that happens. But at the same time, if you, let's say, want to go to a 4-year college in order to get a bachelor's degree in human resources, because you want to work a human resources job, because that's what you did. Like, hey, maybe you did that. You were a 42 alpha in the army. I'm not sure how the other branches. I'm not sure what the MOS would be, but let's say you did that. It was like, hey, I already did this while I was in the army. I just want to get better, a bachelor's degree that'll help me get better jobs. You can go and apply for that. And if you get accepted through the program and stuff like that, you basically are able to go to school and the VRE pays for it. So now you can get your bachelor's degree on the VA, paying for it through the VRE program. Now, if you want to, let's say, go for your master's degree, which is what I'm doing right now, you use a GI Bill. So literally you just got your bachelor's paid for. You don't have any school debt or anything like that. Then you can go get a second higher level education degree, which is a master's degree, and you can have it like that. Or if you've already gotten your master's and your bachelor's, you can try to go get your PhD through the VRE program, if it's possible. So there's so many things like that that don't get explained to veterans, like programs as simple as that. Some programs are only instituted, though, once you become 100% P&T. So like Chapter 35. Chapter 35 is basically the Dependents Education Assistance. So basically your spouse and your kids, while they are doing a higher level education, can receive a monthly stipend, tax-free. Right now, that monthly stipend is about $1,500 a month that you receive if they are going to school full time. If they are going, I think, half time, I think it's like 900 something. And then if it's just like part time, like one class or something, it's like $400 or something like that. But that's something that you have to get 100% P&T. But the veteran readiness and employment, it's there for people to use, stuff like that. And it tells you what it is. Goes to, for employers, it has family members and how to apply. You go to the benefits and then it tells you apply for VRE if you're eligible. You go through the motions, you fill it out, you send it, somebody contacts you, you start talking to them, and you start going through the process of, hey, this is what I would like to do to become better employable after my time in the service. Because you got to remember, not everybody has the ability to become a service member and actually benefit from it. So not everybody gets the same credentialing shit. Some people don't realize that while in service, you have $4,000 per year of credentialing available to you. There's $4,000 worth of credentialing to you while you are on active duty, besides the fact that you have tuition assistance. So you can use tuition assistance to get your bachelor's degree, which a lot of people go through AMU, which is American Military University, which basically the same amount that they give in tuition assistance, that's the amount per credit hour. So basically you will never have to pay out of pocket going through them to get your bachelor's degree or your master's degree. But then at the same time, there's $4,000 available to you in credentialing assistance, which the cap is $4,000. But with that $4,000, that's for the entire career. So you can use that every year, $4,000. 4,000 times 20 years, that's $80,000 worth of credentialing you can get in your time if you decide to do 20 years of service. And that's something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't realize. Like that's a lot you can do with $80,000 of not having to pay yourself and trying to get any other credentialing, whether it's it can have to do with the military stuff. It can't. It's just credentialing that you can obtain. It can be better for like if you're in cybersecurity, or if you're a commo person, or you are a any sorts. Because there's all sorts of credentialing and all sorts of certifications you can get for doing it. I was just looking into some that it was just like in Harvard. There's 2-day, 3-day classes that they offer, kind of pricey, but like for leadership certificates, how to be a better leader, or like certifying you in this, and you get a certification from Harvard doing this. If you have the ability to get that credentialing through the military and you ain't paying for it, that's an advantage to you, because on the back end, that is something that you can use as certification that benefits you on the back end. Where it's just like, hey, the military isn't forever. You're not going to be in service the whole time. Some people like to say that. I was just like, look, the most I think somebody's done is probably like 40 something years. And most of the time that's in the reserve sometimes. But if not, if you doing that in the service, you only going to do 30 something plus years. You still got a lot of time to do whatever you want to do. Shit, you got to remember, some people join at 17, join at 18. After 20 years, you only 38 years old. You a 38-year-old collecting a pension and collecting a disability check. You may want to go to school. You may want to learn something else. You may want to get into a certain field or something that you weren't able to or you always dreamed of. That's something you can do. But if people don't get taught that, if people don't get shown like, hey, as a service member, this is what's available to you, it's kind of hard for it to do it. But then it leads me back to, like, toxic veterans at times, because those same veterans are the same ones that'll downplay the VA and be like, look, the VA sucks. The VA don't do this. The VA don't do that. I'm not going to say the VA is perfect, because it's not. The VA is not perfect. The VA can and does need fixing. But at the same time, when you downplaying the VA every single time to another service member that hasn't even dealt with it, it starts a problem. Because the thing is maybe you had a bad experience. And your experience now became the lifelong thing that you want to keep on, and you want to be angry at the VA for that reason, because of that, because of your bad experience. And that's what I'm saying. Some people never had experience, so it's just like, it's interesting to me, because it's just like, bro, some of y'all, oh, Dash, what's up, man? Some people are just angry. It was like, hey, man, you didn't like your time in the military, cool. You just want to blame it on the VA, blame it on the military, cool. Hey, that if that's what it was, that's what it is. I understand that. But at the same time, keep that to yourself. Keep that bad instance to yourself, and don't make it an instance that you try to tell somebody else, like, hey, this is what you're going to deal with. That's not necessarily true, because the same way when it comes to like those compensation and pension exams, you might have dealt with a bad CAP examiner. And then you just want to blame it as, oh, the VA sucks. The VA didn't do what it was supposed to do. No, you just went through a bad examiner, and instead of you going through the motions of actually reporting them and making a complaint about them, you just took it as, oh, this is how the VA functions. But then again, didn't educate yourself on the fact that some of these issues are not your fault. It's not the VA's fault. If you contracted somebody that has nothing to do with the military, never dealt with any military issues, and you have a military service member trying to explain to them why it is they have these issues, that's already going to be a problem. That's a problem before even starting. That you are trying to explain to somebody something that they have no idea what you're talking about. Like, hey, you could tell civilian doctors, like, yeah, I used to rock all the time. What the fuck is a rock? Rock? What do you mean rock? Then you could just be like, no, we went hiking. And be like, oh, hiking. And then they still don't understand the fact that you carrying a whole shitload of weight, weapon, maybe an ammo can with you, and all that stuff. And they don't understand that. They don't understand it, so it makes it difficult. I have been treated bad in the military, but I do not regret joining. People should be grateful to the VA for 100%. You're getting about $4K a month for the rest of your life, tax-free, just to breathe. Yep. So that's the thing, Dash. A lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people are just like, I have, like I said, when joining the military, there's the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly. Everybody deals with it. Some deal with one of those three more than the other. But at the same time, if you go through the proper motions and you educate yourself on how to obtain your benefits and take advantage of all the benefits and entitlements that are there for you as a service member and as a veteran, it was just like, yeah, you might have gone through some shit ass moments, but at the same time, you are going to get a lot back. The way I started looking at it was like, look, the Army got their time out of me. I'm going to get my time out the Army. I'm getting my GI Bill. I'm getting my master's degree. I got my bachelor's degree while in service. Now I'm out. I'm getting my master's degree because of the GI Bill. Once I'm done with the GI Bill, I'm gonna go to the VRE program and I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna get something to assist with my degree, whether it going for a PhD and having them pay for it, or more credentialing and maybe some licensing when it comes to being a public administrator. But I'm gonna get mine back. A lot of people don't look at it that way. They were just like, you got so many benefits that people don't realize. Like most states are, each state is different. Each state is not created equally. So that's one thing people need to understand. But at the same time, it's just like each state offers you different things. Some offer you property tax exemptions. Um, oh, he said also making getting an education cool. It is cool because the thing is you got to remember that it's an advantage that you get. Like it sucks because the thing is I started going to school before I went to the join the military, and I had college debt. But then I went into the military and I was able to start or basically finish my bachelor's with the military paying for it. So I was able to get my degree with the military paying for it. I still have my college loans, but then hey, look, right now I'm using my GI Bill. I'm getting my master's degree. I'm gonna get my master's degree. I'm not gonna owe any more money. And then one other thing that comes to it is that when you're 100% permanent in total, your loans get discharged. If you're 100% permanently and totally disabled veteran, your loans get discharged. So that's an advantage that people don't understand too. Well, I'm gonna stand up because my back is starting to tighten up. Oh shit! But that's something. That's one of those things that people don't realize and don't look into as much. Is just like, and this is one thing. This is a tidbit that I give people. I looked at all my DBQs that was put in Tri Carolina. Examiners did not ask a lot of questions because I had the medical evidence. Looks like I'll get a rating for all my claims, so I'll be A dash. Love hearing it, man. The thing is education is education. If you can obtain it and you're not gonna pay for it, why not? Why not? For some people, it's just like they're older, they got stuff going on, but it's just like, hey, if you're gonna go to school, you can go to school. Your GI Bill is gonna pay for it, whether you there partially or not. If you're there full time, you get the full BAH of where the school resides at. If not, you'll get partial BAH. But that's stuff that people need to understand. That it's just like you getting an education and paying for it and stuff like that. But having your loans also taken away is a big factor. And what a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to your loans being forgiven once you get to 100% permanent total is that you can defer that. So let's say you become 100% permanent total and you have already college loans and school loans that you've had already. You can actually defer that from being actually wiped off. So let's say you decided you wanted to go to whatever other school and you wanted to pay for it out of pocket so that you didn't use your GI Bill. You would be able to do that, take out those school loans, have it paid for, and then on the back end, once you graduate, you can have your loans wiped out because you are still 100% permanent in total. But you got to remember that shit only happens once. Once you get rid of all your loans, you can't do it again. So it's like a one-time basis thing that happens. So that's something that people need to realize also, that it's a one and done. So once you get it taken away, it's done. Being a veteran, there are so benefits that the money every month is a bonus. Privilege is invisible to those who have it. A lot of people get jealous because all the benefits we get, but they never joined. I was just like, when it comes to that dash, I just tell people, it's like, look, the recruiting office is still open. You under 43, the recruiting office is still open. You want to get these benefits, you want to take advantage of them, sure. Am I glad I'm 100% PNT? Fuck no. Look, I got to stand to talk to y'all. Like, my back be tightening up sometimes. Sometimes it's like I take medication while I do these so that I can sit through the whole thing. And then sometimes it's like, nah, the medication ain't kicking in enough. And I got to stand and change what I'm doing. But those are different advantages and different things that people don't realize. It's just like, yes, it's great. It's great to get the those benefits. The compensation is great. Don't get me wrong. Tax free check for the rest of your life is great. But then there's also those other things that come into it. Like I said, each state you can go and check with your tax. I have not tried to get Social Security. Also, that's something that I need to look for. Are you aware of anyone who got service connected for AFFF exposure? I have live cancer stage 3. Dark Stacker, is it part of the PACT Act? So if it's anything that has to do with any kind of exposure, chemical exposure, anything like that, or I'm guessing that's fuel you're talking about. Is it Air Force fuel? Not sure what the abbreviation is. But if you have anything of the sort, you have to make sure that you are going through a VSO. Yes, I figured it was Air Force fuel. That's something that it doesn't have to be service connected directly. I don't know of anybody specific because I don't get too in depth when it comes to people's aqueous film forming foam. So I don't go in depth with a lot of people's stuff unless I personally know them. I don't really know people's like disability claims. I help them with that. But with something like that, I would suggest talking to a VSO because that may fall under um oh yeah, if you're a firefighter, definitely you should go and talk to a VSO about that. Because that should fall under the PACT Act. Now, I'm not sure exactly if it'll fall under the PACT Act, but I would suggest the sooner you can go to American Legion, the BFW, speak to one of them, and have them go through the motions to check for you and verify that. Because if you are having them, because right now you're probably, unfortunately, you're probably paying for it. If you go and get that service connected, the sooner it gets done, the VA covers that. So my thing for you is make sure to go get seen because if it's any kind of exposure to any toxic stuff, like firefighters deal with that a lot. People that have been around fumes, people that are I filed in them at step 3. Okay, so if you filed, that means it's probably being reviewed right now. But it is possible. So it's something that can happen because of the fact that they know you were a firefighter. It was part of your duty while in service. So that's not something that is just like you always want to make sure you provide documentation, but certain jobs and certain connections, it's pretty simple to put those together and understand like, okay, this is happening, this is what's going on, these two are connected. So that's something that there. So if it's being a firefighter, you're probably going to have those issues connected to it. So definitely just wait, but most chances are you are going to get service connected. If you don't, appeal it and keep fighting that, because that's something as a firefighter, you served your time, you went through that. That is something that is an exposure that you are dealing with because of what it is. If you can actually add some more documentation or evidence, basically showing like the corroborating or the link between the aqueous film forming foam and cancer. If you can find studies or documentation showing that this is caused by this or it's connected by that, that's something you submit with it, or you get a doctor that knows more in depth on that, make them write a letter and provide that as a nexus letter also. But if you're there being a firefighter, it's kind of like a connection thing. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes the VA gets the shit wrong no matter how well you put it. So that's why sometimes you gotta make sure that you invest in yourself to try to help yourself out. If I get less than 30% for DOD in my med board, I'll fight for the TRICARE for life. It's really worth it because health insurance premiums rare, so expensive. Plus, they may not cover pre-existing conditions. So, with health insurance discerning, if you get 100% PNT, you basically are covered for anything at 100% PNT. When it comes to family wise, you would chant VA is pretty good. As long as if you have a primary, you can use that. My liver doc signed a nexus letter and I sent links to studies that showed a connection between AFM. Yeah. Darf, that's enough thing. Like you having a doctor that has the nexus letter, that is a big thing because most of the time, excuse me, providing the nexus letter from a medical professional that has experience and has credentials and has the experience to basically make that connection goes a long way. That's why a lot of people don't realize that a nexus letter is a very strong document to submit when it comes to their disability claim, because it is a medical professional. If you are a medical professional and your specialty is dealing with these kind of things and they submit that documentation, it holds a lot of weight when it comes to it, because a VA rater is going to read it and just be like, oh, okay, this guy does have all this experience. He's done this. He's looked at that. And then he's just like, okay, now I know that this person does it. Because you got to remember, a lot of times, some VA raters never served in the military. This is not a job of something that always gets to people that were prior service. So that's something you gotta realize. But anything you gotta remember, anything that has to do with any kind of toxic exposure, that's the reason why Congress did the Representative Takano from California, because that's who created I forget the actual full name of the PACT Act, but the PACT Act, he was the one that proposed it and made sure it kept on pushing it, and it became a bill because of toxic exposure. When it comes to firefighting stuff, that's stuff that happens. When it comes to the burn pits, when it comes to radiation issues where people served, that's why they're trying to do that, because they're now seeing that a lot of people are developing issues because of where they served and what they did. So, problem is, the closest VA hospital from my home is 4 to 5 hours. Dang. So discerning, it depends on where you are. If your VA hospital is 4 to 5 hours away from you, most likely the VA is going to make it that they are going to find people in your area. It's not difficult, because the thing is you can ask where it is, and most of the time they will send it to you, or you can just go and ask. Like, all you got to do is provide. It was like, hey, do you accept Champ VA? Um, But the thing is since you don't have a VA location close to you, most of the time you will be outsourced to wherever you're at. So if it has to do with any disability claims, anything you have to deal with, you are going to contact them, and just like, you're going to talk to your provider. You could do, like I was saying earlier, the My Health Vet. You can send them a message like, hey, I'm having issues with this. I would like to see a referral, or what the case may be, or what can be done, because these 4 to 5 hour trips is wild. That's a long time to go get seen. And then the crazy thing is like, what, they expect you to go get seen for like 4 or 5 hours, drive 4 or 5 hours, get seen for like 20 minutes, and then drive another 4 or 5 hours. Hell no. Hell no. That's just ridiculous. But that's things that, need to be spoken about. People need to understand that. But a lot of that stuff, it depends on what it is. Because TRICARE for just because it's TRICARE for life don't mean that these places take TRICARE either. That's the thing too. That's what people don't understand. It's just like, whether it's Champ VA or TRICARE for life, not all of them take it. But the thing is you get taken care of. If you have any issues and you're 100% PNT, go through the VA. If they cannot provide you an appointment at their location in a timely manner, most of the time they outsource it to a different location in order for you to obtain assistance. So basically, you having any of those issues, once you get service connected for it, it's just like, hey, I need a referral for this, or I need to get seen for this. So it's just like, my back is an issue, I need to go to a chiropractor. My ankle's an issue, I need physical therapy. My shoulder, whatever the case, if you have sleep apnea, they basically provide you the machine. I just got a new machine. I had a machine already. They gave me a new one, and you get a refill every year, 2 years worth of items when it comes to your masks, your mask filters, a water reservoir, like all that stuff. It just gets provided to you. So it's like, you got to make sure you're taking advantage of the VA, and that's why I said, like, is it always gonna be great? No. Some instances you may get a doctor that's helpful. Some instances you may get a doctor that's not. But at the same time, it's just like, you can always ask for a second opinion. You can ask for a referral. If you are far away from the location you are at, you could do that. For me, it's like an hour away to get to the VA hospital. So depending on what it is, they will send you to the VA, or they'll be like, hey, we found somebody in your area that does take it. Me, I'm close to a military town, so it makes it easier. So a lot of people accept it because they know there's a lot of veterans in the area. But then there's places that, hey, you don't have a lot of veteran presence or something like that. But most of these places will still do it. And the other thing is you can also probably help that clinic or whatever that is, but it was like, hey, maybe I should look into Champ VA. Or maybe I should look into taking Champ VA or taking TRICARE for life. That's something that a lot of veterans I notice haven't done. Is just like, maybe start talking to people. It's like, hey, look, I know there's a growing veteran community in this area, and there's not enough locations that have or accept TRICARE for life or Champ VA. Is there any way that we can work it that you guys can start accepting this? What is the process? Like stuff like that. And that's what veterans need to realize. It's just like, if you do that, there's easier ways, because you got to remember, you have your state senators, you have your House of Reps of your state. Send them a damn email. That's what they're there for. And as a veteran, I can assure you, they're going to try to answer you quick. Use the resources you have. You are a United States military veteran. Send that email. Hey, Senator so-and-so, I'm having this issue and this, and that, and explain this, and that, and we're trying to find ways to doing this. Is there any way you can assist with getting more coverage or something like that in this area or in this location or something like that? And they might be like, look, we might not have anything, but we'll look into it. Or we'll reach out to the Veteran Affairs Committee in our state and see what they can do to help you. Stuff like that, like those little instances is things that people don't realize can happen and can be done. That's why I want to try. So with Champ VA, usually if they take TRICARE, they take Champ VA. So will they bill Champ VA directly, or do I have to file a claim with Champ VA myself? So with me, most of the time I have gone on there. You just put it on there as Champ VA so that they have it as a secondary claim. So basically, if you have insurance, your first insurance takes care of. Vin, appreciate you. Good to see you too. You have Champ VA. So basically, like with my wife, we have a primary insurance that covers whatever, and then Champ VA covers the other half. I haven't really used it that much because I use the VA for all the stuff I deal with. So when it comes to any ailments, anything like that, I go through the VA. I have my own private doctor also, but then I just go through the VA because it's just like, hey, I have this issue, I have that. Like, I'm getting seen for my foot, and it's not service connected, and they're putting it through the thing to actually get it taken care of. So I went and got seen by a foot doctor because the VA didn't have one, so they outsourced it and contracted somebody within my town to do it. Not paying for any of it. So that's why it's like, for you as the individual, going through the VA is the biggest thing, because the VA is going to find, the VA is going to have somebody in network. They're going to find a way to put it in network to do it. So if you have a family, if you have a family, I don't know how TRICARE for life works. But the thing is you still got co-pays and stuff like that, because that can be considered a primary insurance, and same thing with Champ VA. You'll still pay out of pocket, and I think the most you can pay is like $3,000 when it comes to Champ VA out of pocket if it's your primary. That is like your cap is $3,000. But then besides that, everything else gets taken care of. For your family, like I said, if you have a primary insurance already and Champ VA is second, my family ain't paying for anything anymore. So basically, if it's a hospital checkup or referral to this or something like that, they charge your primary insurance, and then Champ VA covers the other half. I haven't had to pay anything yet. But it's different because it's different scenarios, different things that you may need, and different assistance that you may need. So that varies with time. So that's something that you need to make sure you're looking into. But both, if you are a veteran and you're 100% PNT, go through the VA. Just go through the VA, because the VA will do it themselves, or they're going to outsource it to somebody closer to you so that you don't have to make the trip. And for me, if they don't have the resources, or the next time they see like, hey, our next appointment isn't for like 4 months, and you'd be like, look, man, I can't wait no 4 months to see somebody. Is there anywhere I can see somebody closer? Even if it might not be a 4 or 5 hour drive, it might be an hour or two drive. It's still somebody that you can still see you in a closer amount of time. Because that's the thing. It's just like, They're trying to outsource it to everybody so that veterans get the ability to be seen, but it's not always a availability that's there. That's not something that's always there and visual for people to see. So it's something that people need to realize. Um, but either way, it still works. So it's just depending on how you go about it and what you're doing. But it differs. It really does differ depending on what you're doing, where you're going, how you're going about the situation, how you're not going about the situation. That all changes depending on where you're getting the services from, where you're not getting the services from. You have to look at it in that manner. But the thing is like the VA is gonna try to get it there and get it done for you. The thing is it's not always gonna be available on time for you to get those instances, and that's something that people tend to fall on the wrong side there because they just think it's just like it's automatic. It's just like it's not an automatic thing with the VA. It's not an automatic thing with TRICARE. You still have to find somebody available. You still have to find that. No, so Will Selby, the question is I'm interested in VRE. I'm deemed non-employable. Am I not able to use the program? So when you say you are deemed not employable, what does that mean exactly? Because are you totally and permanent disabled? Are you TDIU, which is the total disability unemployability one? Or what do you mean by deemed unemployable? Because the thing is that's the difference between 100% permanent and total and then 100% TDIU. With TDIU, you are basically are getting compensation at the 100% level, but because of your ailments, you cannot work. No, if you 100% PNT, you can work anywhere. If you are 100% PNT, you can work anywhere, and there is no restriction as to how much you can make. If you are TDIU, that means that you can work, but the criteria is that you can only make up to $15,000 per year. So you can only make up to $15,000 per year. So you can still use the TDIU. The thing is that you got to remember that you can use it, but it's gonna come to the case where it's just like whatever you're using it for, you cannot make over 15,000 a year because that is like basically I think like the cutoff amount that you can make under TDIU. So you're gonna get paid at 100%, but you can only work anything and TDIU. You have to what you have to do is I showed it. Where is it? Uh, Here it goes. Let me put this link right here. Copy, paste this. There you go. You can check there, and that'll be how you apply for it and stuff like that. You have to apply for it because you have to see. Because the thing is you got to remember when it comes to the VRE, it has to be for employment purposes. So it just can't be that you're just doing it for things. It's like you have to be able to explain, like, hey, I want to get this credentialing in this. I want to get this credentialing in that. It might be a hindrance because of the fact that, hey, you are TDIU and you can only work a certain amount, but there's nothing that says you can't get more educated on something else. Doesn't mean you can't go to school to become something because of it. I was just like, hey, you want to be able to use it to become, like I said, an electrician. You can only work till 13,000, but you can also work to fix your house. But like I said, there's certain criteria that it comes to it. But let me see if I can see anything. Uh, so after you apply, we'll schedule a meeting with your vocational rehabilitation counselor to find out if you have an employment handicap and if you're eligible for VRA benefits. You have an employment handicap if your service-connected disability limits your ability to prepare for, obtain, and maintain suitable employment. A job that doesn't make your disability worse, is stable, and matches your abilities, aptitudes, and interests. After we make an entitlement decision, you and your counselor will work together to develop a rehabilitation plan. This plan outlines the rehabilitation and other services that VRE will provide. Um, Trying to see if there's a more in-depth. Because it says you don't even need to have a rating. So this is a program that you can use without even having the rating, it says. So let me see. When you hit apply, let's see what happens. I am a veteran. Did you receive a discharge other than dishonorable? Yes, I mean. Do you have a service connected disability of 10% or higher? Yes. Based on your answers, you can apply for VRE. That's how simple that was. That's how simple it was. And then they got the slideshow. You can get up to 48 months of combined VA benefits, training for the job, professional vocational counseling and training, employment assistance. Let's see. Application, entitlement determination, services completed. Next slide. VRE track. So you could go for reemployment. You could go for rapid access to employment, self-employment. I filled out one of those. Did they reach out to you? Because that's the thing. Once you have that's what it goes through. Then it just shows the different one. So it has all that information there, and it shows you the orientation. So if you go to the link in the site, it'll have that, and you just continue to fill out. They will on Monday. Oh, see, there you go. So that's what I'm saying. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna ask you the questions and stuff like that, and see how you can apply and how you can be assisted with it. So that's one thing that you need to that you'll be able to check on that. Since you've reached out to them, like I said, your TDIU, that doesn't stop you from getting it. Because the thing is basically they're trying to make sure that you as a veteran can find gainful employment. Now, if you're TDIU, that doesn't mean that you can't work from home. Military rep through the college. Yeah. Yeah. And most colleges have that. And it may be like, hey, it may be that you end up doing a little side job. Maybe you work at the school. Maybe you work at the military office in the school. And that'll help you with the employment, whether it's a degree in, I don't know, like business management or something like that, or a certification or something, or human resources certification that can help you do that. But the thing is, you got to remember, at TDIU, you are limited because of the fact that you can only earn up to a certain amount. Once you are 100% P&T, there is no amount there's no cap. So basically, at TDIU, you can only go. It's business. Okay, yeah. And even if and also you got to remember, there's the VBA, there's the veteran business. I forget VBA. Let me see. Because there's no, that's the careers at Veterans Benefits Administration, which is also that also helps with businesses. So if people want to become business owners and stuff like that, they do assist with that also. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff that veterans don't know are there, but if you are TDIU, you can still apply for VRE. You just got to remember that it may be a bit difficult for your plan because of the fact that you are not able to work fully. So you can't work a full-time job. So you can barely even work sometimes a part-time job when you can only make 15,000 per year. So that is the max. Now, if you are working through a corporation or you're working through an LLC or you as an S corp or something like that, that might fall into a different realm. That might be a bit different because then it's an entity that you're working through, and then you can maybe just pay yourself the minimum. But then the business gets the rest. You see what I'm saying? That I'm not too sure on. That I'm still trying to get clarification on and work through. But that's something that, hey, that's something that you can observe and you can find and do in that manner. It was just like, hey, if you have to work through an LLC where you are part of the ownership and what your pay is basically the minimum that you can get, or the 15,000 through TDIU, and the rest goes to the corporation. The thing you can sell, the corporation is earning money. That's your pay. But then you got to remember, at the end of the day, your pay still has to start leveling it out to make it seem like it's fair compensation. You can't just only be making 15,000 a year, but your corporation is making like 200, 300,000. You see what I'm saying? So it comes into those effects. But the VRE program is there for service members to use at it's available for them to use in whatever manner they have. But like I said, there is eligibility criteria, and there's stuff that you have to go through still too. To get, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It was like there's stuff you have to go through in order to get that available and get that done. It doesn't always. There's always eligibility criteria for everything when it comes to the VA. Same thing with like when it comes to service connected. But if you are TDIU, because I know a couple of people that are TDIU and they just do like little small jobs here and there. They just get paid to 100%, and that's it. But their spouse is the one that's working in instances like that. But if you can, Selby, the best thing is also hey, if you can get to 100% PNT, depending on how far you are, that's something that you want to make sure you look into, because it's great to be paid at 100% with the TDIU, but at the same time, if you can get to 100% PNT, it's best to try to reach for that because you get those extra benefits. When it comes to the chapter 35, when it comes to making sure your dependent and your dependents can get a monthly stipend for going to school, or getting champ VA, or depending on your state, because some states, like I said, each state is different, but some states, depending on the percentage you have of disability, is how much you get tax exempted from your property tax. For some, they remove a certain amount. Certain states have a large amount of money that gets removed from the assessed value of the home. So let's say your home is worth 400,000. Some states have it that if you're 100% PNT, you can remove 250,000 of that on assessed value when it comes to paying your property tax. 45K here. See, that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that. So you can get 45K removed off of your assessed value of your home when it comes to tax purposes. And hey, that adds up. Every year when you get that extra little check back because of the taxes that you didn't have to pay on there, that adds up. So those little instances add up. In certain places, like look, for you is 45,000. I have a spreadsheet that I started working on that breaks it down, like how much it is, and some it provides that. Some of them it's that same thing, but then also if there are a surviving spouse or surviving dependent, like your kids, they continue to be able to use that same tax exemption. And that's another thing a lot of people don't know about. Sometimes it's like it's not only you that gets the benefits. Sometimes with certain states, they've made it that it's like, we understand that you are a family member of a service member. So if something happens to you and the service member is no longer around, we're not going to take away that tax exemption benefit. You continue to use it. But I believe a lot of the criteria comes to like you cannot remarry in order to not lose that benefit. But hey, if the service member passes away by whatever case, if it's because of something that's service connected, you get the DIC compensation that they pay you for that. But then also for certain states, if you are a surviving spouse or dependent and your service member passes away, you continue to be able to use that tax exemption going forward. So that's the same thing. Same thing with like certain states that you can go get an education from it. Your dependents get schooling or they get a scholarship or stuff like that. Each state has its own benefits, and there's a lot of stuff that just people need to look into their state. Go to your tax assessor, whoever does your property tax. If you own a home and stuff like that, you can call the county and yes, explain DIC. So DIC is basically compensation benefits for surviving spouse and dependents. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, y'all see I'm moving a lot. I can't stand still right now. So this is basically if you're the surviving spouse, child, or parent of a service member who died in the line of duty, or the survivor of a veteran who died from a service-related injury or illness, you may be able to get a tax-free monetary benefit called VA dependency and indemnity compensation. So am I eligible for VA DIC as a surviving spouse or dependent? So it breaks it down for you. I'll put this link in right here too, so you can get that and you can use that. If you need to go further into it, I am 10 years TDIU. I'm not entirely sure how that works with the different, like the years of being a certain thing. Because I know I made a short on YouTube explaining like the different criteria. So when you're at the 5-year level, it's one thing when you're at the 10-year level, it's another thing, and then when you're at the 20-year level, that's a different thing when it comes to disability ratings. So at 5, it's just like I don't think they can remove it. At 10, it's a certain thing. I forget what the justification is, but I have to look back into it. But it breaks it down in that manner. It's just like, hey, at these percentages, it changes. For TDIU, I'm not too well versed at how long being in that like placement goes. So that I would have to look into a bit more. But eligibility as a surviving spouse. One of them must be true. You lived with the veteran or service member without a break until their death. If you separated, you weren't at fault for the separation. That's interesting. What's the other one? And one of those, you married the veteran or service member within 15 years of their discharge. You were married to the veteran or service member for at least a year. Stuff like that. Evidence. Provide evidence. Service member died while on active duty. The veteran died from a thing. But if anybody has to go through the DIC and file for that, that is always good to go through a VSO because they are better versed at that and they're better assisting and they can get stuff moving a lot faster. Or sometimes lawyers do that, but like I said, VSO is a free thing, and most of the time when it's a surviving spouse like that, they are making sure to help. And it's also not only the only they're not the only entities that do that. Like the American Legion, VFW, those are the main ones. I started a PowerPoint presentation also that I'm working on. Let me see. I started making a list of the different organizations. So you have the American Legion, Veteran of Foreign Wars, Disabled American Veterans, the Wounded Warrior Project, the Gold Star Wives of America Incorporated, Hope for the Warriors, American Veterans, Operation Homefront, Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, the Gary Sinise Foundation, Homes for Our Troops, which helps build troops homes and adaptable living for certain people. There's Operation Gratitude, which if you deployed, most likely you got a little care package from them. Awesome damn organization. Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation. That one is one of those that helps with DIC also, and they help try to take care of children of service members that passed. So that one's specific like that. You got the Bob Woodruff Foundation, Everyone for Veterans, Operation Second Chance, Puppies Behind Bars, which is one that I haven't donated. I have to find their information again. But that is one that there's so organization that helps people, prisoners in jail, basically teach puppies to become service dogs for veterans. So literally that corporation just basically pays to assist creating or teaching dogs how to become service animals and service pets for military personnel specifically. The Fisher House Foundation, the Yellow Ribbon Fund, Navy Mutual, the American Red Cross, the Marine Corps League, the Navy Club of the United States of America, the American GI Forum, Military Chaplains Association of the U.S. Like, there's so many organizations that can help with that. But with this one, it's just the evidence. You just need to have that, and it needs to show that you need to be able to show that the person passed either in the line of duty or they passed because of that. So sometimes you may need like an autopsy report to show that, because I've seen a lot of people have had issues with the fact that they can't provide that information. So you need the autopsy to show like, hey, this is the service connected issue he had. He died because of something related to this. And this is the DIC benefits, the benefit rates. So this is what it is, but it's not like you get a super. You don't get it's not a crazy amount. It's not like you're getting the same payment. So it says if you're a surviving spouse of a veteran, your monthly rate will start at $1,612.75. So that's what they would start receiving at the beginning. Now, for the first child under 18, you get another 400. Second child, another 400. The 8-year provision, which is the veteran had a VA disability rating of totally disabling, including for individual unemployability, for at least 8 full years leading up to their death. The 8-year provision adds another $342 to it. Aid in attendance is if that service member's dependent was taking care of them, so they were providing like changing their clothes, helping them get around, stuff like that, doing all that stuff. Aid in attendance, that would get them another $400. If you can't leave your house due to disability, that's $187.17. But you got to remember, that's after the fact. So total monthly payment after 2 years when transitional benefit ends. So that's what it is. See, so the transitional benefit for the first 2 years, so you'll get an extra 342 because that's basically after the first 2 years of basically when it happened to help assist. So basically, they're saying that we're going to give you an extra $340 a month to basically assist you for the first 2 years when something like this happens, so that you at least have 2 years of an extra $400. Once that happens, it gets dropped back down. So, but see, you got surviving spouses died before January of 1993, and then you got the ones after. But then you got to keep in mind that for these, it's all different stuff. So some people are dealing with it now where they didn't know that they could apply for it, and you have to like backdate this. Well, not backdate it, but you have to find the information that provides that documentation to help assist you. But yeah, that's what it is for DIC. So it depends. Like I said, it's 1,600, and then from there, depending on how many kids you have and stuff like that, it adds to it. But you have to fit the criteria, and that's like I said, with everything, you got to fit the criteria with everything when it comes to the VA. But those are the things that cover that basically. So you have the DIC, you have the TDIU, but the best thing is like, look, if as a veteran you are not sure where to go, where to find information, make sure that you are asking questions at the VSO. Contact the VSO. Contact any one of these organizations that has an accredited service representative. Like I said, you can go on va.gov and you can find the information. You can just type VSO in the search bar. The first link will be find an accredited VSO or accredited agent. You can type in there, search for, said peace and grease. Hey, appreciate you, Darth Stacker. Have a good one. And hopefully you get that taken care of, and hopefully your claim goes through with no issue, and hopefully they can start helping you with that with the cancer treatment. Appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, that's the thing that people those are the things that is just there. It's just like all this information is out there for veterans. We have information. It's there. We just got to be able to use it. We have to be able to find it. We have to know where it's at, because a lot of the times veterans are stuck in a position where they don't know where this info is. They don't know where to find it. They don't know where to go. They're looking for, how do I get this done, or how do I get this taken care of in a way where, how can I put it? Because it is disheartening sometimes. It is overwhelming. That's the one thing that a lot of veterans don't talk about. It is an overwhelming situation when it comes to trying to get this done. Trying to get this done. Like trying to find information, or trying to look up documentation, or trying to get that diagnosis from a doctor, trying to get some x-rays, trying to get an MRI, a CAT scan, going through physical therapy, going all that stuff. It sometimes is a long process. It does take some time sometimes to get this stuff taken care of. It is not a overnight thing, and that's what people need to understand. It's not an overnight thing where you're just gonna file a claim and then the next day is just like, oh, it's gonna be cleared. No, you have to make sure you go through it. Have you ever heard a soldier going to the med board, going to a field exercise, or seen it? Dash, it wouldn't surprise me. It's the fucking military. You got people on crutches that they still want to send to JRTC and send to stuff like that. And they're just like, you know why that wouldn't surprise me, Dash, that they would send a person that's being med-boarded to go to a field exercise? They just gonna have them sitting in a talk. Probably be the person on the radio. Doesn't wear any gear, doesn't have anything, and they still send them out there. What that person needs to do is that person needs to go to their provider or to their thing and have them have a chat with the commander, or have them update their profile and put the profile that they cannot be in any austere environment, or cannot do any field exercises or training. You are not supposed to be taken to the field if you are basically going through that process. But the thing is most soldiers don't know that. Most soldiers don't know that they can get documentation to protect them, which is a profile basically stating, hey, I can't be in these environments, I can't do this, I can't do that. And the thing is they end up getting suckered into going in there because their commander wants the numbers to make it look like he's doing something when they're not doing no training. Like, that's the one thing I never understood with the military at times. It's just like when it came to sending a soldier to a training exercise just to send them, but that training actually, that soldier actually isn't getting any training. My unit is talking about making me go to the field while in a med board. My Peblo said it makes no sense and I will just sit there and watch. That's the thing. Your Peblo can say that, but the thing is you have to get you probably have a profile. You have to go get your profile updated. Go make a an appointment and talk to your PA and have them be like, look, I need you to put this in writing because these people are really trying to take me out to the field. They're really trying to make me go into this field exercise and stuff like that. I was just like, nope, not me. Because they do it all the time. The amount of people that go to like a JRTC rotation or an NTC rotation in the military, because of the fact that it's just like, what? We needed more people to go. So you just have a person that could be getting, you know, maybe missing appointments and stuff like that because y'all want to send them to a field exercise. What are you doing just standing around there? I was just like, if that's the case, if they do send you dash, don't do a motherfucking thing. Follow your profile to the T. I can't lift this. I can't do that. Sorry, can't do that. And if they want to counsel you for it, let them. Let them. Let them counsel you. And just be like, and then when they put that counseling on the do you agree with the plan, be like, I disagree with this because I was notified and my command team and leadership was notified that I am going through a med board and I should not be participating in these activities due to my medical profile and my processing through a med board process. And just put that right on their damn counseling. That's it. What they gonna do? Go to who? They're not going to try to hit you with no Article 15 or any kind of UCMJ because all you got to do is just like, okay, let's do it. I'll send this to IG and we'll show that y'all tried to counsel me and y'all took me here knowing that I was going through, and it's going to be a shitstorm for them and they're not going to want those problems. And that's what a lot of soldiers don't understand. It's not you being disrespectful and not you doing your job. It's you making sure you are taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, any one of those people that's in your leadership that's actually trying to force you to go to a field exercise is a piece of shit and will not be taking care of you on the back end. None of those people ever take care of you. None of those people ever reach out. So that's why it's like you got to make sure you take care of yourself. If you got to go through the process of getting a profile updated or documentation saying, hey, I can't go, I can't do this, that's what you got to go ahead and do. They try to counsel you for it, take the counseling. Counselings don't mean shit in the outside world. Counselings don't mean shit. Counselings are only a method of service when you are serving in the military. It's like they want me to be in the suck with them and don't want me to get out of things, but I do not understand why they do not just leave me alone at that point. Because the thing is, this is the military. People are just bitter. I was just like, they're mad because you're getting out and you're going to get paid to get out. Plain and simple. But at the same time, you can't just let them do that. If you can, it's just, like I said, go to your PA. Shit. Tomorrow, make a phone call to your PA and be like, or email them or go to sick call and just be like, look, I need to talk to my PA because I need my profile updated because they are trying to take me to the field where I should not be in when it's a problem because you have an issue with your feet. So y'all want me to be on my feet in the fucking field on uneven ground when I'm already having issues because of this and I'm getting med board because of it. How that make sense? And then they be like family first. That's what killed me. Then family first, right? I don't give a fuck about you. It's just like that's the bad part about the military. It's like it has its good parts, but then you have dumbass leadership that falls into that, and it's just like you're trying to send me when you know I'm about to get out the military because of my issues. You want to take me to a place that may further worsen my issues. Nah, fuck that. That's why you got to make sure you are taking care of yourself. Always take care of yourself. No matter what the issue is, you got to make sure you are taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, these people are not going to take care of you. They're not concerned about it. They're not worried about it. Whatever happens, happens, and then that's what you got to realize. But all right, y'all. I'm gonna cut this one. Cut this one now. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. If y'all can, if y'all haven't already, please make sure to like the live. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to pass this resource out to other people. They wanted me to do a PT test, and I told them I'm in the mentor. Yeah, because the thing is they're gonna try to make you do a whole bunch of stuff. But if you know what you're doing, Dash, they are not gonna mess with you. Like I said, go get a updated profile which shows that you can't do that, or try to see contact. Matter of fact, contact IG. Contact IG and tell them that, look, I'm going through a med board process and these people are trying to push me into the field exercise, knowing that I'm going through a med board process. But like I said, you have to make sure that your profile shows that you can't be doing those things. But I believe once you're in the med board process, you're not supposed to be doing any of that. You're not supposed to be going out to the field. You're not supposed to be doing a PT test. You're not supposed to go to the firing range. Once you are basically under that level of being med boarded, you are not supposed to be touched, basically. It's like you show up to formation, you do what you got to do. You might have to do the little certs and stuff on the computer. That you might have to do. But when it comes to all the physical aspects of it, you should not be doing any of that because then it affects the stuff. So basically, shit, if I were you, if they do force it on you, I get messed up. You went out to the field and you got yourself hurt. Even more. Another disability claim. Hey, Dash, it don't matter if they see it that way. That's not their fucking problem. They got a problem with it? Tell them to talk to the PA. Tell them to talk to IG. Hey, Tim Wilkins, appreciate that. I was just like that. That's what people need to understand. It's just like at the end of the day, you're the one that's gonna take care of yourself. At the end of the day, if you can't walk or anything like that, none of those people are gonna be pushing you in a wheelchair. Not one of them. Not one of them is gonna offer to buy you a wheelchair, let alone push you in the damn thing. So it's just like take care of yourself when it comes to anything like that. You have your rights as going through a med board process. You are basically the reason it's a med board is because you can no longer be a part of the military. They are trying to move you out of the military because of the issues you incurred during your military service. By going to a training environment, by doing PT and stuff like that, you ain't supposed to be doing any of that. Why? Because the med board process doesn't want you to hurt yourself even more because they just want it to be this is the issue you are dealing with. They don't want it to be like, well, he had these issues, but then they took him out to the field and now this is there. This happened while he was out in the field. Because then what does that happen? That extends the med board process. They don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with none of that. But the thing is you have leadership that doesn't care. They just think it's just like, oh, it's the numbers or whatever. You're trying to get out. It don't matter. The same way there's regulations, they have to abide by them. But the thing is if you don't know what the regulations are, they try to take advantage of the fact that you don't know, and they'll do that. Hey, Dash, IG will get it. IG will understand. Shit, a letter to the damn commanding general. That'll help them understand. But definitely a letter to IG will do that. And an ICE complaint will do that too. Use your available resources. That's what they're there for. File an equal opportunity complaint. Look, the way I see it, when the military wants to play fuck games, you play fuck games back. That's it. You on your way out, bro. You getting your percentage regardless. You getting your stuff regardless. They want to play these games and make it worse for them while they stay in, then do so. File an IG complaint. file an equal opportunity complaint. It was just like, y'all trying to make me break my profile, which says I can't do this and I can't do that, and y'all trying to enforce it on me when you know I'm going through a med board, which you're flagged for that, because you get flagged when you are under the med board process for that reason. So, like I said, use the available resources you have to get rid of those people. They're not gonna get rid of them, but the thing is they're gonna get an ass chewing when it comes from IG. And then you have, look, I'll tell you this much: if your commander's the one trying to push it, or your lieutenant or your PL is the one trying to push all this shit, trust me, you put a letter to IG, IG's gonna contact that commander, and that commander might be like, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Let me investigate. Or if it's the commander doing it, then IG's gonna look into it. Then that battalion commander is gonna be like, bro, why am I getting an IG complaint about you trying to have this soldier that's medboarding do all this shit? And then he has to answer to the BC. Like I said, Dash, if people want to play fuck games, let them play fuck games. Learn how to play them back. Regulations and standards, courtesies, customs and courtesies are there in the military for a reason. It is not for people to take advantage of them. It is not for a person to pick and choose when it benefits them. They are there to protect the people that are following the actual standard, the regulations, and the rules. That's what they're there for, so that when people try to overpass them or go over them, they get dealt with. And that's it. Now I'll leave you with that, Dash. If anything, like I said, tomorrow, call your PA. Try to get a profile updated to avoid that. Then make a issue with IG. Contact IG and tell them that they are trying to force you to do this, this, and that, even though you are going through a medboard process. And you would just like to know information, or if not, you would like to file a formal complaint with IG for them trying to do that to you. That's it. Don't play those games. They want to play games, make it worse for them too. They want to make it worse for you, you can make it worse for them legally within your right. It's not like you going out of nowhere to do these things. It's like these are the issues that they're trying to push on you when you're getting med boarded. You're not supposed to be touched for anything. Nothing. You ain't supposed to be bothered. You might get put on staff duty. Shit, I don't understand how they don't have a rear D when they're going out to the field. Because I know you're not the only one that's on a profile that can't go out to the field. I know that for a fact. But like I said, make sure you take care of yourself, man, because these people ain't going to take care of you. You go through all emotions, use all the resources that you have available to you while serving in the military to take care of yourself and get the stuff done that you need to get done. And that's it. There's no other way around that. People are going to try so many things for you. People are going to try it. You got to protect yourself. Protect your mental health, protect yourself, and make sure that people are not taken advantage of, because the thing is that's a problem that we have in our military. You got leadership like that likes to take advantage of soldiers because they don't know any better, and soldiers don't do anything, and they just be like, you know what, let me get it done because I'm on my way out. You will be the person that will show these other soldiers in your unit that is just like, hey, if there's a legitimate problem that's against regulation and rules, I can make a complaint on it. That's all it is. You're making a complaint against somebody that's going against regulations, standards, and procedures. If you are being medboarded, you got flagged for being medboarded, meaning you ain't supposed to be doing anything physical or anything like that. Why? Because you aren't in the medboard process, and the medboard process doesn't want you to go through these issues because they don't want you to end up worse or messing yourself up more and then delaying the whole instance. Because let's say you go to this field, like I said, I go and I fall down, I fall on my hip on purpose, just mess my shit up. This commander did this. They said I had to be out here. And watch how that commander's going to be in the hottest fucking shit ever if something happens to you while you're out in the field. That's it. But like I said, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in this week. We will continue this. Like I said, we're doing it on this. I think this is the first time I've done it on all these platforms all at once. The only one I'm missing, I think, is like Twitch. But thank you for everybody on Facebook that liked and shared and viewed. Thank you for everybody on YouTube that liked and shared. Thank you for everybody on TikTok that liked and shared. Every Sunday we do this. I know it's cutting into our football time. I just think, hey, this information is free. You ain't paying for it. The football game, you can rewind it. Well, I guess you can rewind this, but it's easy to get questions answered live because I can actually answer you and teach you and show you the stuff while doing it. But I appreciate y'all. As always, look out for one another. Take care of one another. Love one another. Be good to one another. And stay marvelous while you're doing it. That goes for all of y'all. All y'all platforms. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday. Enjoy some football. Enjoy whatever y'all gonna do. Spend some time with the family. I got homework to do. So I'll holler at y'all. See y'all next week, man. Peace. I'll schedule it next week so y'all can get the notification and y'all see it on there. I'll schedule it right after this so y'all can see the next live coming up. So I appreciate y'all. Take care. Have a good one. I'll see y'all next Sunday. Cruz signing out. Peace.